You finished your film, and by muscle memory, you whip out your Letterboxd, IMDb, or whatever you track your films on, and you begin your review. Did you love it? Well, maybe you enjoyed it. I don't know about love. Or maybe you hated it, but something about that seems harsh. You can appreciate some things about it, but this isn't that good of a film. There's a lot you didn't enjoy, but it's so beloved, it feels wrong to rate it so low. Maybe you missed something though, and you shouldn't lie about how you felt. And now you have no clue how to rate this, or really how any of your films fall into this scattered rating system. I've been there. And though I'd say it doesn't really matter, you should rate films however you feel, and it's really all just fun and games, I, in typical Letterboxd cinephile nature, created a system that best works for me. A system that might make sense why both beloved and not as widely adored films might be a 5 out of 5, and why panned and significant films that I just didn't get might share the same space in the half-star infamous ring. So if you're curious, then let's break down my system. First thing to keep in mind is I rate things on a 10 number scale and then translate it into the Letterboxd number system. So half a star on Letterboxd would be a 1 in my mind. A Letterboxd 1 star would be a 2 for me. A Letterboxd 1.5 star would be 3, and so on. And at first glance, my Letterboxd might seem harsh. 109 films at 3 stars and only 37 films at 5 out of the 900 and plus movies I have logged. You might ask, do I even like films? Well, in brief, this is how I view the scale. Half a star to 2 stars means a below average film. 2.5 stars to 3 stars are standard. Then anything higher than that is an above average film. But even with that in mind, there are some crazy outliers to the surmised definition. So let's get specific with each star and some films to exemplify these descriptions. Films that have no ratings can be any of the following. They could be films I don't remember well, or films I have contradictory feelings towards, I hate and love it. It could also be films that I'm indifferent to. No real concrete thoughts, ideas, or feelings about it. And sometimes I keep films at a temporary no rating state, especially when I have yet to form an opinion. But I also keep any short film or miniseries because I just feel like it's unfair to rate them, seeing as they're not actual feature films. And of course, any film with a like or a heart obviously means that I lean towards the positive side, or what I do remember of it, I definitely enjoyed. Now, half stars are simply films I did not enjoy or appreciate at all. Nothing about the film makes me want to revisit it, nothing about it redeems it. These are films that might be just as bad as the half stars, but might have 1 to 5 very minute qualities that redeem it on some level. This could be performances, concept, fan service, or nostalgia that I can appreciate or understand, or whatever excuse I can find to justify its very terrible quality. Or these could be films that could be considered important in cinematic history or to a genre, but I just personally cannot bring myself to enjoy it. I might be able to appreciate its influence or creativity, but I don't see myself willing to revisit it anytime soon. Now, these films are one step above terrible and unwatchable. They are just bad. However, it may contain some sort of angle or take that elevates its quality by a great margin. Whether that's once again a brave concept or a new take on a genre, or it could be an interesting story with good performances. These films are saved by the 1 or 2 only good things about it. These films could also be revolutionary films or beloved films that I personally just didn't like, but I would be open to watching again if someone could convince me of how good it really is and how I've truly missed something. These are average films, not necessarily bad nor amazing, but have some major issues that really hold it back from being something good or concrete. It might pass all the benchmarks of being a perfect blockbuster or just cherished films, but maybe it feels a little inauthentic, or maybe the writing is rushed and loaded with exposition over speculation. It still is a fine, solid film. It just needed a little more or a little less to be a good one. But this rating might also go for any significant film that I feel I misunderstood and very enthusiastic to try again. These are films most cinephiles and critics love, but I just didn't get. But I definitely understand that it is a me problem. Now we reach the rating where most films end up, the standard section. This is where I feel most people mistranslate my system. I think many people are often lenient with their stars, so 2.5 seems horrible. To me, it just means standard. It's not a bad film by any means, but it probably wouldn't go down as one of the most important moments commercially or artistically in cinema. It's good, it's solid, it's entertaining, and it's enjoyable. So to me, this rating isn't a bad one, but it's a good one. This is the second tier of good. These films are standard, but they might incorporate something unconventional in the way it tells its story, hence heightening its quality. This could be the message it's delivering and the very in-your-face, caught-off-guard approach, or it could be just a simple, distinct style that elevates its unassuming filmmaking. These are the films on the brink of good and great. These could also be those innovative, greatest films of all time that I can really appreciate. I don't love it on an enjoyability factor, but I can definitely respect what it did, and I can definitely see why many people would adore it. If 3 stars are at the edge of good, then these are the ones pushed over that line into the greats. These are the films that are slightly above the standard of what films are. These are the films that are great and distinct, but still have a couple major issues with it. It could feel a bit self-indulgent, or messy, or inconsistent. And though these things might hold it back from being the best films, it's still great, impressive, and definitely enjoyable. If those were the greats, then these are the outstanding. These are the films I could completely understand if they were considered the best of their genre or style. Similar to the 3.5s, these are fantastic films with only 1 to 5 very minuscule flaws. It could feel a bit unfinished or unnecessarily lengthy. Maybe it's too pretentious, or it leans too much on its exposition or gimmick. Whatever it is, it won't affect the film's quality or enjoyability by a great margin, but it definitely justifies lowering it from what would have been a 5 or a 4.5 star. Now on to the best. These are the films that have a minor, almost microscopic flaw. These are the films that are the gems of cinema and would be some of my personal choices to represent the power and creativity and uniqueness of film. But these could also be the films that should be lower, but because of its achievements, influence, or vision, it deserves to be bumped up a class or two. This is the finest level of quality. It's the prized superior works in not only cinema, but across many art forms. These are masterpieces, and some are even perfection. A film or two might have some issues, but remain as a 5 out of 5 because these problems don't really corrupt the artistry or the film's quality. In short, these are the films that I have no complaints for. So there it is. I also keep the system with albums, books, and shows as it proves to be the closest way I could articulate how I feel about something in silly, simple numbers. There are exceptions, outliers, and biases here and there, but I guess that's why I said these systems don't truly matter in the end. For the most part, I hold true to this, but sometimes a movie experience can be so terrible or so personally important that I might tweak their scores. After all, there's no true objective opinion in art, so there's really no right right way to rate something. And these ratings will always be fleeting or temporary. Opinions change with time and rewatches. I mean, there are some of my 5 stars that started off as half stars or 1 stars. So it all really depends on your own time, experiences, and even biases against directors, genres, and so on. And all I'll say is don't get attached to these numbers. They're meant to be flexible and they're meant to just be some silly fun. There's no need to take these rating systems and these media logging apps so seriously. And give everything a shot